Let me guess, you've put a collar on your cat and it hasn't gone very well. Maybe they're looking really uncomfortable in it. Maybe you're feeling so guilty that you're taking it off them, or maybe they're just taking it off themselves. If you are in this position, please don't worry, it is 100% solvable. And in today's episode, I'm going to show you how to turn your cat into an absolute lover of their collar. So let's think about the reasons that your cat might not have fallen in love with wearing a collar, because if we can find those reasons, it's going to be so much simpler to solve the problem. So the first thing to think about is the collar that you're using. So I'll show you an example. It's a Supakit one. But this is true of all collars. You need to make sure that you're choosing a collar that is specially made for cats. It should have a safety breakaway buckle, which is important in keeping your cat safe. They won't care, but you certainly will. And then your cat will care that you've found them a lovely collar that is super slimline and really lightweight. This allows it to sit very lightly around your cat's neck so that they can forget it's even there. And if they don't know it's there, they won't hate it and they won't want to take it off. Here at Supakit we do one additional thing, which is we make our collars out of natural materials. So this is the leather one, and we also have a vegan cork option. And those natural materials have a natural scent and a natural feel that really appeals to your cat and allows them to feel at ease in their collar much more quickly. So those are the things we're looking for when choosing our cat's collar. Now, while we're on the topic of collars, let's just talk really quickly about the collar fit, because fit is so important for your cat's comfort, and it can be a really crucial reason that they might have not fallen in love with wearing a collar if the fit is off. So obviously we don't want their collar to be too tight, but also really crucially, we don't want the collar to be too loose. And the way I like to think about it is like wearing a watch strap on your wrist. It's much more comfortable when it's snug against your arm versus if it was really loose and dangling around every time you moved. And the same is true for our cat. So we're kind of looking for that Goldilocks zone right in the middle. You can follow the manufacturer recommendations for your brand of collar, but here at Supakit, we advise that you fit the collar so that you can just slide one fingertip between the collar and your cat's body with their fur compressed when it's on. One final thing to say about collars before we move on is to think about whether you're putting accessories on your cat's collar too soon. So accessories are super important, for example, putting an ID tag on your cat's collar. But if you're introducing them to wearing a collar and it's got accessories on and you're doing both at the same time, you're making it potentially overwhelming for your cat. So definitely recommend that when you first start, when we're getting our cats to fall in love with their collars, take all of the accessories off. I mean, ID tags, trackers, bells, just strip it bare. We're going to get them to love the collar first, and then we'll introduce everything else. So those are a few of the things to think about with your cat's collar and to resolve before you get on to turning their opinion on collars around, because obviously they've already met a collar, they've already decided that they hate it, and we're going to have to help them change their opinion. So to do this, we're going to use training, and for the training you're going to need to do two little bits of prep. The first one is you need to find something that your cat absolutely loves to use as a reward for training, and you're going to want to bring out the big guns, something that is going to melt your cat's mistrusting little kitten heart and teach them that collars are actually fun and really great. So you can use food, that's the most obvious choice. You can use like a dry food-based treat, or actually I'm quite a big fan for this type of training of lickable treats, because they keep your cat occupied and distracted for a little bit longer, and you can deliver them in smaller quantities so you can eke it out over time. If you can't find a food-based treat that your cat loves, I know some people say, oh, my cat isn't food motivated. I would say keep trying. There probably is a food that they really love, and it would be great if you can find that. If you really can't, then think about other things that they love. So their favourite toy, their favourite game, those are all good things that you can use as rewards during training. For the training, we also want to be able to really accurately identify how our cats are feeling about this collar at this stage in the process, and we do this by reading their body language. So I like to think about cat body language in terms of a traffic light system. So you've got green when your cat is super happy and chilled and relaxed, hasn't got a care in the world. We've got amber when our cats are starting to feel a little bit anxious or mistrusting, and then we've got red when they're experiencing fear, which is a place that we never want them to be. If you need some pointers on knowing what your cat will look like in each of these zones, we actually have a really handy downloadable in the description. You can find it there, and it will just take you through the process of learning to read your cat's body language so you know exactly what they're thinking at every step of the process. So for some cats, it might be the case that They're only happy to be, I don't know, on the opposite side of the room from their collar. If you move any closer with it, you see signs of amber, and that's a sign that you need to stay on the other side of the room. For other cats, you might notice that you might be able to hold it out to them and they might be happy with it in this sort of range. So you're going to need to find out what that is for your cat. When you have found that green zone, what you're going to want to do is pair that level of exposure with the collar with the reward. So for Lola, she's happy being this close to her collar and sniffing it, so I'm going to give her the reward at that stage. And you're just going to repeat this a couple of times, and we're going to use the traffic lights as our signals, whether we should carry on, stop, or go. So if you're seeing the green zone, for as long as you're seeing the green zone in your 2 to 3 minute session, just carry on. And then the next session, you can push things just that little baby step further. So if our cat was happy with the collar being here, the next day we might do the training with the collar here and just check that they stay in the green zone. If we see a sign that our cat is slipping into the amber zone, for example, I bring the collar here and they're looking a little bit amber, we're going to wrap things up for the day, and then for the next day's session, we're going to bring the collar back to here. It's as simple as that, and do that wherever you find your cat's levels of amber and green. Just never let them get into the red zone. We don't ever want them to be experiencing any fear around their collar. Use this training process just 2 to 3 minutes a day and build up until you can get your cat very close to their collar and they're not showing any signs of anxiety being in its presence. When you've done that, then we're ready to put their collar on. When you're ready to put your cat's collar on for the first time in this reintroduction, pick a fresh day and then open the collar up, go over to your cat, and I would recommend fitting their collar by looping it under their chin and then fastening it behind their head. Nobody likes to have anything swoop down on them from behind, and it can give your cat the heebie-jeebies, so I would definitely go for the under the chin approach. Just fasten that up and then reward your cat with the big guns. They have done really well to get to this point. And for this first session, I would just take the collar off straight away. We want to quit while we're ahead. Over subsequent daily training sessions, you're going to want to build up the amount of time that your cat is wearing their collar. So pop their collar on, deliver rewards throughout, and start to build up that time, but making sure that your cat stays in their green, happy zone. If you see any signs that they're straying to the amber, all you need to do is take their collar off, wrap things up for the day, and when you start again the next day, you know where their threshold of fear is, so you want to leave it on for a shorter period of time, rewarding throughout, and then take it off while they're still in that green zone. That's it. That is the process to turn your collar-hating kitty into a collar fan, and I am so excited for you to give it a go. If there's a topic you would like me to look at in a future episode, just pop it in comments. I always love to hear your thoughts. And if you want to treat your cat to a Supakit collar, we have popped a little discount code in the description below. Best of luck with your training. I can't wait to hear how you get on, and I will see you next time.